Andrew Leung, who is an independent China strategist based out of Hong Kong. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program today. Now, before we get into what we could expect from this phone call, give us some insight into the role that China's playing in this conflict and how it's playing its cards carefully with Russia and Ukraine.
Yes, of course, China always upholds the United Nations Charter of not interfering in another country's sovereignty, because that's very important against recent American transgressions on this regard, interfering with China's internal businesses over Taiwan, Hong Kong, and so on and so forth. So this is a very important principle for China to defend. And so China is a bit of a dilemma there. And also there is another principle, which is responsibility to protect, the R2P principle, which both Russia and China opposed on the occasion of the war on Kosovo. But now Russia seems to be transgressing these two very important principles. So that puts China in a bind. But on the other hand, China and Russia have been pushed much closer together as economic and geopolitical partners because of United States aggression towards the two countries. And even before the United States aggression, both countries have found a great deal of complementarity as Russia is one of the world's largest energy exporter, and China is the largest energy customer. But also China needs the agricultural products and various kinds of technologies and components from Russia.
Right.
So this closer partnership predates this Russian military action in Ukraine. So there's nothing to do with China supporting Russia by forming this closer partnership. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, China highlights the need to pay attention to the security concerns of both sides, rather than using sanctions to impose the will of one side, the will of the United States, on Russia. So so China is prepared to play an intermediary role, but this role cannot be done by China alone.
Right, and we've heard the U.S. ask China a couple of times to use its influence on Russia to stop their incursion into Ukraine. How can we see China benefit from the unique position it's in at the moment?
Well, I think China may benefit in various areas. For example, if all the Western businesses, in fact, they are all leaving Russia in drones, handing over a blank sheet for China's companies to fill in terms of mobile phones, in terms of Chinese branded, fast-moving consumer goods, including kind of products you find in Walmart and so on. So I think that China would, slated to take the place of a lot of Western companies in Russia. But Russia is the economy is relatively small. In fact, it is no larger than one of the provinces in China, in Guangdong, for example. So there is no compensation for the perceived kind of collusion with Russia, even though that this is not real, because, as I said, China cannot support Russia militarily because it lays this UN principle. But of course, China is prepared to mediate, because the mediation, if successful, will very much expand China's international prestige and influence.
Okay. Independent China strategist Andrew Leung, it was a pleasure speaking to you here on TRT World. Thank you so much for your input.